It was December 18th, 2011, a cold winter day in the city of Indianapolis, Indiana. But I didn't even care. I was so excited because I got to attend my first professional sporting event. It was the Indianapolis Colts versus Tennessee Titans football game. It was a great game and also the Colts' first win of the season, making my experience even more enjoyable. As we were driving out of downtown after the game, I couldn't help but notice all the homeless people lining the streets. According to endhomelessness.org, that night there is an estimated 636,017 homeless people in America. I couldn't help but think about the sporting event I just went to and how much those athletes get paid. Even worse, what they spend that money on. It is no secret that professional athletes get paid a lot of money. But how many of us have actually looked into exactly how much they make or what they're getting paid for? The average NBA player makes $5.15 million a year. The average NFL player makes $1.9 million a year, and the average MLB player makes $3.2 million a year, according to usatoday.com. These are just the averages, not even coming close to what the star players make. Jerome James of the New York Knicks once earned $5.8 million for only playing 5 minutes of a game. Alex Rodriguez didn't play an inning for the Yankees in the 2013 season, yet still made $13,942 an hour. Kimi Räikkönen, a Formula One race car driver, makes $51 million a year, which is more than Tuvalu, a Polynesian island nation's GDP. Albert Hainsworth of the Washington Redskins got paid $1.78 million in just one game in 2007. Before the Lakers knew if Kobe Bryant would be able to play in the 2013-2014 basketball season, they promised him over $30 million, even if he didn't play one single game. Johan Santana of the New York Mets got paid $48 million for the 2011 and 2013 seasons, where he didn't throw a single pitch. And lastly, Aaron Hernandez of the New England Patriots made $3.25 million while he was in jail, due to a signing bonus that was conveniently deferred to a later time. I don't think I need to go on. Those salaries are clearly an issue, but what is worse is what they spend their money on. Gilbert Arenas of the Orlando Magic spends $5,000 a month on food for his pet sharks, and $1,500 to the sharks' caretakers, as well as $60,000 on a miniature train set for his children. Mike Tyson spent $140,000 on 2 Bengal tigers and $2 million on a bathtub for his first wife. John Daly, a professional golfer, has lost an estimated $50 to $60 million on gambling, more than some Americans make in their entire lives. These outrageous purchases are part of the reason so many athletes go bankrupt. In 2009, it was estimated that 78% of NFL players are bankrupt or facing serious financial trouble just 2 years after their careers end, and the same goes for 60% of NBA players 5 years after their careers end, according to USA Today. This happens for 2 reasons. One being that it is human nature to spend at least a part of the sum when receiving a big chunk of money. The second is because many times these salaries are being given to kids barely in their 20s. They do not have the maturity to spend it wisely or think about their future when this money will not be coming in anymore. I understand these athletes have rare talent and skill and are at risk for many injuries early in life and physical problems later in life, but I would not go as far to say that they are risking their lives by playing these sports. According to BLS.gov, the average salary of a firefighter in America is around $47,000, while the average salary of a police officer is $55,000. This is extremely minimal for people who risk their lives on a daily basis compared to those who are playing games for a living. I am aware that the games professional athletes play bring in a lot of money not only for the organization, but the cities they are in, but the money could be better spent. Forbes.com states that the annual revenue for the NFL in 2013 was just north of $9 billion. The NFL commissioner made a statement wanting to increase that number to $27 billion by the year 2027. That is the NFL alone, not counting other sporting organizations. That $27 billion alone could roughly buy 270,000 houses, giving houses to 42% of the nation's homeless population. If you go to usdebtclock.org, you will be overwhelmed by watching the national debt clock continue to rise. Currently, it is at $17,855,000,000, $408,720,987. And that number was hard to read because the clock was climbing so fast. Professional athletes who are getting paid millions are adding to this debt because they don't know how to spend their money wisely and are throwing away millions that could help feed and house the homeless, lower the number of those on food stamps, and help decrease the national debt. I'm not saying that this debt or homelessness is the fault of professional athletes by any means. However, there are roughly 15,000 athletes in America who get paid, according to BLS.gov. The majority of them do not get paid the big bucks, but there are billions of dollars going towards paying these people who play children's games for a living, and when it comes down to it, they are simply entertainers. If athletes cut back on paychecks each year, the national debt could be lowered significantly, as well as the homeless population. Despite the salary of professional athletes, sports, mainly football, are first loves for many Americans. People are not going to stop watching these games. However, tickets to certain sporting events have risen by 300% in recent years, causing many average Joe fans to not be able to afford to go to these games any longer. If this continues to happen, many middle-class Americans will not be able to afford their beloved season tickets. As these ticket buyers fade, the organization will begin to realize they have made a mistake and are getting too greedy. However, to be proactive, we can show the inequality that is currently happening. One is by getting government officials involved. They are supposed to be the representatives of the people, and with enough pressure that they may end up creating laws where a certain amount of money these sporting organizations earn will have to go to poverty in the city. With enough signatures on a petition, they will have to listen. Secondly, we can get retired professional athletes on our side. Doug Flutie, a previous Los Angeles Ram and also Heisman Trophy winner, is a big-time philanthropist, mostly raising money for autism and autism awareness. He is one professional athlete who remained in control of his money and is using it for good. I'm sure he, as well as others who played in the 70s to 80s era in professional sports, will agree that salaries are getting out of control and can be used for something that will better the city, country, and world, not be used on 12 different sports cars or a $2 million bathtub. Lastly, we can make people aware. Social media is a phenomenal free resource. There are many advocates for ending poverty and restoring what is right to the world. If we let people know exactly how much these athletes are getting paid and what they spend their money on, I'm sure people would be outraged and demand for action to take place. No cause can be changed unless there are people behind it. We all see those homeless people lining the streets whenever we're in the downtown of a city, and more likely than not, it tugs your heartstrings. Professional athletes get way overpaid for running and throwing or kicking a ball, while those who risk their lives for a living receive a mere fraction of their salary. It does not make sense. As Americans, I believe we have the duty to get government officials, former athletes, and the citizens of America involved in a situation that could eliminate a large fraction of poverty and help decrease the national debt.